On a walk and talk, what we do is we look at a problem and we focus in on a solution, and everybody should know that by now. So we're going to get into the problem here in just a second. I'm just kind of enjoying this. I'm like, man, I don't have a to-do list. I don't have work to get to after this. And I'm just really feeling grounded on a lot more than I felt in a long time. So we're talking about the importance of clarity. The importance of clarity. Clarity is power, okay? Clarity is power. I was itching to go on vacation. For one, I needed a break, but for two, I knew that there was something I wasn't seeing. I knew there was something going on inside my life, inside my heart, inside where the Lord was bringing me, that I wasn't taking time to really understand. And that is the problem today on the Walk and Talk. People are so busy to where they're running around in circles, okay, and they're not going anywhere. People are so busy that they're running around in circles and they're not going anywhere. So I don't know if I'm the only one, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. There's a lot of people that are busy. They got long agendas, long to-do lists. They got 1,000 things to do at work, and then they get home and they're working. They're working before bed. They're waking up and they're working. They got their kids. They got their marriage. They got their diets. They got their workouts, all these different kind of things. And it's one of the biggest mistakes that we can make in life. You're like, Justin, well, that's just about being productive. And that's being accomplished. But the truth of the matter is, kind of like my dad's old dog, Snooky. Snooky was a Jack Russell and he had a tail. The point is that Jack Russell, my dad's dog Snooky, used to chase his tail in circles and circles and circles until he would wear himself out. So we want to avoid being Snookies in life. So if you feel like you're a Snooky and you're just chasing your tail, you're kind of making a little progress, but then you're not. You're kind of making a little progress, then you're not. I really encourage you to stay put, because that is the truth. What's going to happen? I'm telling you as sure as I'm standing here. You're going to go throughout life and you're going to look back and you're going to live with regret, because there's a lot of people that are waking up each and every day and life keeps on going. They keep showing up to the same job, the same position, the same hours, the same lifestyle, and they're being consistent, but they're going to get to the very end and they're going to look back and they're going to have one word, and it's going to be regret. And I hate to say it, you might even be in a position right now, you're like, man, I wish I would have done this. I wish I could have did this. But I challenge you and encourage you to change now. I don't care how old you are or how young you are, but you have to hear the message, because you don't want to be like Snooky and chase your tail. You feel like right now you need something to change, you got to have clarity. And point number one here on the Walk and Talk, it's going to be the SSS formula, okay? SSS, 3 words that start with the letter S. So somebody can please type them in the comments below. But the very first word that you have to do is you have to stop, okay? So as I was working and going and doing this and walking, talking and, doing YouTube, and I'm doing Instagram and doing all these kind of things, man, I'm making progress. Are you? And once again, relate this to your life. You have to learn to stop, or you're going to continue to keep on wasting your life. Inside the Word of God, it says, but Jesus often withdrew to lonely places where he prayed, okay? So he went alone, not with a family vacation. We were going with like 20 people, and then you're waking up every day and you're on schedule. You might as well just be at work. You're just having fun at work. But he went alone often, and he decided to take some time to pray. Now, why do you think that Jesus ended up doing that, Emily? Why do you think he ended up doing that, Renelle? Because he had to get clarity from the Father, and he did it often. He didn't do it sometimes. He didn't do it when he felt like it. He did it often, and that's exactly what the Word of God, says. So for right now, we're just kind of going, and we're not stopping. That's a problem. So we have to learn to stop often, because if we don't, then time's just going to keep on passing by. Life's going to keep on passing by. And we're going to look back and we're like, man, I wish I would have did this, right? I wish I would have stopped for a second. I wish I would have took a break. I wish I would have took a vacation. But no, if we're just Snooky, we're just running. I got to get to it. I got to get to it. I got to get to it, right? what's going to happen is you're going to live back and live with regret. So when Jesus stopped often, he meditated, he listened, he asked the Father, he started getting some direction, and he learned, and what happened was he started to fill up. If you're always giving and you're not receiving, you're going to wear out. You're going to burn out. And that's exactly where I used to be. When I first started the Walk and Talk three plus years ago, I was at a point where I was doing Walk and Talk 6 days a week. 6 days a week. Now I was asking myself, how could I do Walk and Talk 6 days a week? I wasn't even getting burnt out at first. For the first couple of months, I'm doing it 6 days a week. And it's because I was filling up for so long that when the opportunity arose, I was able to give all that I had learned, but I gave too much at once. And then before you know it, I'm looking for guest speakers, and then I'm looking for people to fill in, and then I'm getting weary, and then I'm getting tired, and then I'm carrying that heavy load that I'm not supposed to be carrying, like we talked about on the last Walk and Talk. And then I ended up getting burnt out because I wasn't stopping. I was going. I gotta go. I have to go, right? So clarity is important, and the first thing we have to do is we have to stop. I don't care if you don't have vacation time. You need to make vacation time. You need to ask your boss for it. You need to talk to whoever it is. If you're self-employed, you need to figure out a way to discipline yourself to take it. It is hard to stop. And if you don't stop like Jesus did often, you think he just stopped for 5 minutes? You think he just went for 5 minutes away and then got back to the grind? He just went back to kind of doing his thing? No, he stopped often. And we learned about how Jesus fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. And then the list goes on and on and on. My point is that you have to stop. Give yourself a time to breathe. Get connected. Brings us to point number 2 is you'll start to see. Once you stop, you'll start to see what you haven't been seeing. So right now, if you're on this journey and you're not seeing what God is trying to show you, it's because you haven't stopped. But when you stop, you'll start to see. Inside the Word of God, it says, where there is no vision, people perish. So if you don't have a vision, man, I just don't know where I'm supposed to go. I don't know what the Lord is trying to show me. Where there is no vision, people perish. You have to connect, stop, and you will start to see what he is trying to show you, just like Jesus stopped and the Father was able to show him. So what's going to happen, Bonnie, is when you finally stop and you start to see, you have to connect everything in Scripture. It goes back to what it says in Habakkuk 2:2. You have to write it down, make it as plain as day, so those who read it may run to it. But you're only going to write it down if you stop and know what to write down. Because if you're just kind of going and you're snooking it and you're just writing down as fast as you possibly can, then you're not going to write down anything that is worth, actually doing. So stop, and then you'll see it, and then you write it down so you don't forget it. So that's exactly what I did. I went away for a couple days. I was in a really nice location. I sat down. I'm seeing people just kind of flying by. I'm like, man, that's me. That's me. But I just I was like, listen, let me just get a coffee. I'm going to chill. I'm going to drink this coffee. I'm going to relax. And I just started writing as I was praying. I'm praying, I'm meditating, I'm listening, I'm stopped. And then I start to see what God is showing me. But because I wasn't stopping before, and I continue to keep on going, I wasn't able to see what he was trying to show me. So I wrote it down so I can meditate on it, which brings me to the very last S. And don't jet off after you hear this one, because you actually have to hear how this closes out. The last point, once you stop, once you see what he wants you to see, you're going to get the answer. Trust me. Asking, you shall receive. Seeking, you shall find. Knocking, the door will be open unto you. Last point is then you have to show what he has shown you. You have to show what you have seen because you stopped. Because if all of a sudden he gives you a perfect word that you write down and you don't make any changes or any adjustments, then what's going to happen is you're going to be back in the same position. And trust me, I've been there, so I'm just speaking from experience. But I haven't really stopped in the last couple years this long and actually got this much fruit out of it. Like, I actually feel like this is an amazing time off. I'm actually filling up. You're going to show, like we learned about in the last couple walk and talks, that you're marching forward. You're not looking behind. You're not looking to the left. You're not looking at what others are saying on Instagram. You're not caring what all these doubters and haters are saying. You're not cared about what this family member is doing that's trying to pull you off track. You're not cared about what your business partner is doing that's really irking you. You're looking forward and you're going straight because you're focused, and now you can show what you have written down. You can show what he has actually shown you. And you're putting things into action. And I want to show you what the Word of God says. It's a verse that God gave me, because I think a lot of us, we forget to take massive action with the things God has shown us. We have to learn to take action. And I'm going to show you exactly what the Word says. It says, and he said to them, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. This is Jesus. Immediately they left their nets and followed him. Follow me and I will make you fishers of men. And immediately they listened, and then they started doing what he wanted them to do. They didn't doubt it. They didn't second guess it. They didn't overthink it. They didn't overanalyze it. They just immediately took action, and they started going in the right direction. So my encouragement to you is to show what he is showing you, and remember to act immediately. Don't wait. Don't take too long, because if you do, then what's going to happen is you're going to be one of those people that's going to live with regret. I wish I would have done this. I could have done this. I should have done this. And I'm back in the same circle, and I'm doing the same things, and I'm not making any progress. So we're going to stop. We're going to see, and we're going to show. I said that there's power in clarity. And in order for you to have success with clarity, I'm going to give you a couple quick takeaways that you must write down in the comments below. The very first thing, if you want to have success with clarity, is you have to know your outcome. You have to know your outcome. You're only going to know your outcome if you stop and get connected with the Father, because he's going to start showing you what to do. But most people will start at a job and they'll work their whole entire lives for 40, 50 years. And then they get to a point where they're doing the same thing that they were doing 50 years ago, and they're working until they die. Why is that? Because they didn't know their outcome. Unless you want to do that and you want to work your entire life and be a slave to your job, you have to know your outcome. So Sylvester Stallone, Rocky, the guy that made Rocky the movie that ended up being huge, and there was Rocky 1, Rocky 2, Rocky 3, Rocky 4. Everybody laughed at him. Everybody doubted him. His own wife doubted him. He got to a point to where, like, everybody around him was like, man, are you just going to give it up? Or are you going to throw in the towel? But he knew his outcome. He knew that he was called to make movies. And he knew it so much to where he got to a point to where he ended up pawning off all his wife's jewelry, which led him to a divorce. Lost everything, living out of his car, broke as a joke, and then got to a point where he had him and his dog left. And his dog is the only thing that he had that mattered to him. And he got to a point where he was so broke that he had to give his dog to a gentleman. Sold his dog off for $20. His best friend, the only thing that he had left. But because he believed in him making movies so much, and he knew his outcome, what he had been shown, he stayed the course when everybody laughed, when everybody doubted, when everybody mocked, when his wife left him, when he was doing anything and everything possible to survive. He knew his outcome. And you guys already know the story. Before you know it, he writes Rocky, And then, you know, he writes the movie Rocky. People laugh at him. Oh, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. And then all of a sudden it becomes some blockbuster thing. He knew his outcome. So if you decide in your life to like, oh man, I just don't know what I'm going to do, you better stop. And you better start seeing what God is trying to show you, and then start showing what he has actually shown you. And then you will start operating differently than everybody else. You will know your outcome. Just like the owner of the UFC, Dana White. He basically was doubted. Everybody thought that there's no way in the world Dana White's going to start this Ultimate Fighting Championship. But he knew in his DNA when he was younger who he was designed to be. And as everybody doubted, everybody laughed, nobody showed up, he knew his outcome. And it gave him clarity. And that clarity just kind of pushed him through in life. And that's the bottom line. Listen to me here. The way God has designed us, we've learned about the subconscious before, the way that our cells are made, the brain, the cerebral mechanisms. Basically, when you know where you're going, if you get clarity, it's almost like a magnet. It starts pulling you in that direction. But if you don't have any clarity because you don't know where you're going, because you're not stopping, you're not seeing, you're not showing, then you're going to stay stuck. And you're going to live with that regret. And you'll be like Snooki running in circles your entire life as everybody on the sidelines like, man, that person could have done that. They had so much talent. They should have been able to do that. So the very first thing you have to do is really know your outcome. Number 2 is you got to know why you desire it. You have to know why you desire what you want. You remember, like we always talk about, know your why? If you know your outcome because God showed it to you because you finally stopped and you actually see it, then what's going to happen is you're going to start having this desire, to be whatever it is that he has shown you more and more and more. So you have to know your why, because a lot of people go throughout life and they don't feel like they really want to do this, or they don't know why they're doing this. You have to know why you desire this and know your outcome. Number 3 is once you know the outcome that God has shown you, once you have this desire, this itch, then you're going to take massive action, okay? You're going to take massive action in that direction. Now, it doesn't mean you're not going to stop, because you're still going to have to stop, because Jesus stopped often. But when it's time to go, you're going to start taking massive action. Time to go, take massive action. You're going straight. You're not going back. You're not going left. You're not going to the right. You're going straight. You're taking massive action. Which brings me to number 4 is you're going to analyze, okay? Analyze what you're doing. What is working and what's not working. Is this working? Is that working? What is God trying to show me when I'm stopping? Why am I so dissatisfied with this? Why am I so dissatisfied with these different things? And it might be because you need to analyze what is working and what is not working, because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So if you continue to keep on going and you're not analyzing, oh, I know my outcome, I'm going to chase my tail. I know my outcome, I'm going to chase my tail. I'm going to be like Snooki. You're going to live with regret. Which brings me to the very last thing. Is you have to learn on your journey that you have to make adjustments. You have to make adjustments. The bottom line is if you don't adjust, it's not going to change. The point is you have to adjust and 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 adjust until you hit the outcome that he has shown you. If you're not where you need to be and you're not getting results, which is number 4, and you keep on analyzing it, but you're not changing anything, that is the definition of stupidity, okay? So I'm here to encourage you tonight on the walk and talk, because I have a feeling that I'm not the only one. I have a feeling that there's a lot of people that are living with regret right now. They're like, man, I just wish something would change. I just wish this would be different. I just wish whatever it is, fill in the blank. If you're chasing after a deadbeat relationship, stop. We're not meant to chase things We're meant to, keep it moving like Jesus kept it moving. And then God's going to put the right people along our path that are supposed to do life with us. We don't want to have to run after people to get them to kind of follow suit. Because if they're running this way and we're running this way, then all of a sudden we're not looking straight. We're looking off to the left, we're looking off to the right, looking off behind us, and we're running around like Snooki, right? Stop trying to fit a square into a triangle. Squares go with squares. If you're going straight and things are trying to pull you off track from what God has in store for you, you have to stay focused and get back on track. You have to stop, see what He is showing you, and then start showing others what He is showing you. SSS. Because you understand, to have success, you have to know the outcome. You have to have this desire within. You have to analyze what is working and what is not working. And then you have to adjust. Oh man, are we going to keep on adjusting? We're going to adjust as many times as it takes. And so are you. Because you're tired of being just like everybody else. Man, maybe I should just, throw in the towel. Maybe I'll just give up. Maybe it's not worth it. Maybe I'm not meant to do this. If God planted something in your heart, if He planted something in your spirit, I'm here to tell you, He doesn't want you to give up. He doesn't want you to give up. He doesn't want any of us to give up on what He has planted. Now, here we go. We're getting ready to end, so please hang tight with me. I'm just kind of going with what God is showing me. The point is if right now you feel like you've blown it, you feel like right now, like maybe you're going through like a midlife crisis. Maybe you're even young. You're 25, 30, younger, older, whatever it is. Man, I just wish I would have done this. I wish I would have, whatever. Fill in the blank. I'm living with regret. You don't understand. I already blew it. I can't change things now. You can't change things now. You're right. But what you can do is change things today for what's going to happen tomorrow. I was going through such a struggle, such a spiritual battle. And I started to realize, I'm like, man, I'm out of my element. I'm like, I'm talking and I'm speaking, but I don't feel connected completely because I'm just kind of like, man, I'm living with regret. I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have, right? Come on. You have to stay focused in on the prize. What is God showing you? What are you doing? What are you showing Him? Because you took the time to stop often. Are you showing Him what He has shown you? Don't worry about yesterday. Don't worry about, what happened then. You can't change that. You can change today, and whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 100, 120. Well, you probably won't be 120. But the point is, doesn't matter how old you are, you can change today. But what you have to do is, you have to stop. And then you're going to see. And then you're going to show. You're going to stop. You're going to see. And then you're going to show. You're going to stop. You're going to see. And then you're going to show. And it all comes down to the same old thing of every single solitary problem. It's Jesus. Every single solitary problem in your entire life can be solved, and you can find the solution, and things can change, and you can start going in the right direction if you got your focus in on Jesus. You can't give if you don't have. You can't fill up unless you stop. You can't show unless you know. You're not going to know unless you see. Please do yourself a favor. Remember this message for the rest of your life. Clarity matters. It is power. The Lord got His clarity from the Father, but He got it because He stopped often. And then people that got direction from Jesus, they didn't wait. They didn't doubt. They didn't think twice. They didn't think, I don't know if it's going to happen. They responded immediately. Now you're going to get the direction that He's going to show you, and you're going to write it down so you can meditate on it, so you don't forget it, so it's not in space and then it's gone. And then you're gonna start, man, I know what he's shown me. I know what's going on. I can see I'm going forward. I'm not snooky in it. I'm gonna keep on going. And then, you know what? I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna see if there's anything else I need to add to adjust what he needs to, show me. I'm gonna pray, and when I say stop, I mean you're stopping with him. You're not going out to a family vacation with 50 people. You're not going, skiing and skydiving and all this kind of stuff that's gonna distract you and keep you from not stopping truly. You have to stop, and it's lonely sometimes, but I'm telling you, I feel amazing right now because I stopped and I got clarity and I feel better. I'm not 100%, but I'm doing a heck of a lot better. When a couple weeks ago, I'm like, the doctor, the medical reports, right? Come on, guys. If this ain't exciting news, I don't know what is exciting. If you got more time for something else right now after hearing something like this, you got issues. You don't have the clarity that you need in order to go where you need to go in life. You don't want to live with regret. And that's one thing that I started feeling like, man, am I going to live with regret? Am I going to live with regret? Am I going to look back and be like, man, I wish I would have done. I wish I would have.